us feel better, we heard.
Let's hope you still feel like clapping in 5 minutes' time. For hopefully obvious reasons, there's a slight chance this talk might overrun by 5 minutes.
What's break time?
But we've got a 10-minute break, so we'll be fine. So what I thought I'd do to sort of set the context for each year is to show you what you were listening to in that year.
If you were alive. I don't think that an nasty way, because I was.
Moving on. So, 1987, Perl 1 and Perl 2 were both released during 87, 88. Oh, and of course, in order to do 25 years, I've had to combine 87 and 88 to 2 years for fence post reasons. So then here's a list of the releases that came out during that time. As you see, there's Perl 1 on December the 18th, and then Perl 2 followed 6 months later. In the community, not much going on, obviously, because there wasn't much of a community. Interestingly, the first JAF was published to Usenet in 1988. What happened in the technical world? Well, obviously Perl came out. These lists will obviously get longer as we books, well, there was Man Perl in 1988. But that's all that. So 1989, yes, Stone Roses. Yes. Perl 3 came out in 1989.
Library data, I think.
And it came out in at least 8 or 9 versions, all in the period of just a couple of months, like that, so 3 months. Cult Lang Perl Mist was launched. When I was doing the research, it puzzled me for a while that the first JAF was published before Cult Lang Perl, but of course Randall was posting Perl answers to questions in, well, pretty much any group that he could find. Binary data, as Nick pointed out, that was the big technical improvement in Perl 3. Books, not so much. Moving swiftly on. 1990. Depeche Mode. 1990 was the year of Black Perl. Who knows what I mean by Black Perl?
It's a pirate ship.
So several more. Did you notice how quickly releases these double dots? Because I have missed out listing all the releases that came between those 2 versions. Lots of releases. Yeah, so Black Perl was the first instance of Perl poetry. Actually. Writing poems using Perl. Not so much technical. For all those bug fixes, all those new releases of Perl 3, not much happened technically, and no new books in 1990. 1991. I've never seen that penis look so large. The pink camel. Couple more releases of Perl 3, and then Perl 4 started coming out. And interesting, people say that the Perl community didn't understand marketing until quite recently. Actually, there is no difference between Perl 3.044, or almost no difference, between Perl 3.044 and Perl 4. It was a marketing move. They wanted a new version to launch the pink camel off the back of it. But one thing that did come out with Perl 3 was the artistic license. And as I say, the technical Perl 4, but it wasn't really a great technical step forward. It was pretty much the same as Perl 3. And books. We have a book on our books list. Hurrah! 1992. 1992 was the year that Mac Perl was first released. Of course, back then, Mac ran on some weird operating system. several releases of Perl 4. I couldn't really find anything much that happened. The community back then was all really sort of mailing lists and stuff like that. And archives are not really easy to come about. Yeah, so Mac Perl came out in 1992, which was basically someone, Chris Nandor and somebody else's, whose name I've forgotten, Steve somebody, compiled Perl to run on the Mac operating system. Of course, that's no longer really needed because the Macs now run a real operating system. So 1993. Oh, I don't know anybody else, but I listened to nothing but the Cranberries in 1993. And that was the year that Pink Llama came out. It was also the year that Perl 4.036, which is a number that is burnt into my memory, that hung around for an awfully long time, that release. It was also the year that the Perl Pack Racks mailing list started up. People started talking about, hey, maybe it would be a good idea to archive some of this information, to freely share some of this source code. That's an idea we'll come back to. And it's the earliest reference that I can find to CGIlib.pl, which was a Perl 4 library for parsing CGI parameters. And of course, books, learning Perl. 1994, definitely. Perl 5 was released in 1994, so 18 years ago. Almost exactly 18 years ago. That was the year, and with the introduction of Perl 5 came the introduction of the Perl 5 Porters mailing list. And also, of course, Perl 5 led to, you can now have modules, and so some of the earliest versions of some of the most important modules came out. That's, you see the earliest versions of DVI and CGI.
Can I heckle?
You can.
On DVI, it's astounding, as far as I know, that Python still hasn't picked up on how useful it is to have an interface to talk to different databases.
Yeah, well, they still think that web spaces are really cool. 1994, no new Perl books in 1994. So yeah, 1995. CPAN, hooray!
Yay.
Only one version of Perl 5, so it started to look like Perl 5 was a lot more stable than Perl 2 was.
Yes. Yes.
Both Perl.com and Perl.org launched in 1995. Actually, Perl.com was registered in 1994, but I don't have any evidence that Tom did anything with it until 1995. Also, it was the, well, it was in theory the year that Complang Perl split into Complang Perl MISC and Complang Perl Announce. Of course, because Usenet isn't particularly well controlled, Complang Perl hung around. It's probably still going. I haven't looked recently. Technical things. So the CPAN got set up. The first posting of the Schwartzian transform to a newsgroup. Match script archive. No, bad. You know. Also, it really pushed the idea of using Perl badly.
Still does.
First versions of LWP. First version of DVD MySQL, and also people publishing the RSA encryption decryption algorithm in a C, showing the power of Perl. But no new books. 1996, there you go. I know you were listening to it. The Perl Journal was launched. It seemed like a long time ago to me, but I'm very old.
And very wise.
I'm very wise, thank you. Lots of releases, so Perl 5.2 came out, and Perl 5.3 quite soon afterwards. Yeah, so the Perl Journal was launched and ran for, I don't know, about 3-4 years, something like that. Technical things, Mod Perl was first released, the CPAN shell, so command line access to CPAN. It's the earliest that I can find references to test harness and test.pm, so Perl's testing culture really started to kick off, and it was the 0th obfuscated Perl contest that year. And we got some more books. The Perl 5 desktop reference was first published in 1996. CGI programming on the World Wide Web is the O'Reilly mouse book. It's not one of the nastier CGI books that we'll come to later. And the second edition of the camel. So that's the first blue camel. That was the first Perl book that I bought. 1997 was the first Perl conference. In San Jose. Oh, that's the O'Reilly Perl conference that later became OSCON, when we let other people come. And lots of releases in the Perl 5.3 and Perl 5.4. Perl 5.4.4, I believe, was the first one that bundled CGI.pm as part of the core. So, in the community, the Perl conference, and the Perl conference, the first Perl conference, lots of Perl people who'd only ever talked to each other on Complang Perl met up face to face, and suddenly we had Perlmongers. And the New York Perlmongers were the first, closely followed by places like Boston and other groups in the US. And Perl turned up on the IRC channel. I can't actually work out when the FNet Perl IRC channel started, but Perl turned up in 1997. And lots of books. The second edition of the Llama Advanced Perl Programming, Learning Perl on Win32 Systems. That sold really well. Sorry? No. CGI Cookbook. That's Matt Wright's book. Effective Perl Programming. That's not an O'Reilly book.
That's Manny.
No, it's Wiley, isn't it? It's the Shiny Ball book. 1998. Moving on.
Because I think people still watch.
London Perl Perl 5.5. The Perl Institute. We don't talk about the Perl Institute.
Is that the first rule of Perl talks?
Technical. The CPAN testers got set up. One Perl. Who knows what one Perl is?
Oh God, yeah, the unification.
They're trying to get so that you could compile the same Perl on Unix as you do on Windows.
And Mac.
And Mac. Yeah, so one Perl. One Perl to rule them all. Earliest versions I could find of HTML, Poe, and XML parser. And more books. Oh look, dummies books. First version of the cookbook. Maybe. First Yahtzee.
Yay.
Some releases. So the Perl conference turned into OSCON. The first Yahtzee in North America. The first German Perl Workshop. So that's the first workshop. Perl Month was launched. Does anyone remember Perl Month? A monthly online Perl magazine. I'm the only person in the room that remembers it.
Well, we all know that.
The first White Camel Awards, and yet another society, YAS, the people that's the organisation that Kevin Lenzo set up in order to run Yahtzee. And also, this was when the Rhizomatic IRC channel, IRC network set up, which is what has become irc.perl.org. So another useful modules that you see for the first time. Tom Christensen's Perl Power Tools project, rewriting all of the Unix utilities as Perl scripts. And also the first use of Perl Golf. Lots more books. Anything particularly interesting there? Object-oriented Perl. Teach yourself. Oh, this is Elizabeth Castro's book.
The 24 hours one got me into Perl, so it was good for something.
2000. My name is Coffee Cups. Perl 5.6 was released. The first Yahtzee Europe in London. Perl Monks was launched. The the first Perl World, Perl cruising. Anyone ever been on a Perl World?
Yeah.
A few people. And Mark Fowler did the first Perl Advent calendar. That seemed like a long time ago,
Yes.
but it really was in 2000. Technical, but positive.
Wow.
Testing revolution. Up until this time, we had tests for all our CPAN modules, but there was a comment at the top saying something like dark magic beyond this point. It wasn't exactly friendly. And I remember there was a meeting in the bar at Yapsy in Amsterdam. That should be 2001.
Yes.
Wrong year. Anyway, I made at least one mistake. Anyway, first active Perl, and if you don't mind me mentioning my own things, Sigma Proxart came out in 2000. You should still all be using that. Lots of good books, and some less good books.
Proper Doge, 3rd edition.
2001, Björk. Damien Conway works for us. That was the year that we, well, the previous year we'd given loads of, we collected loads of money, and his university said that he could work for us for the whole year. It ended up being more like 18, 20 months, didn't it, in the end? In the community, Use Perl launched. So Perl monks and Perl mongers joined yet another society. Then yet another society formed a subgroup called the Perl Foundation, because yet another society was going to help out all these programming languages. That plan never really worked out. Yapsy auctions had happened in the previous year. Again, this is, 2001. This was the one in Amsterdam where, where
You did the auction.
we started doing stupid, big auctions. And also, Simon Cousins' Parrot April Fool's joke, where he said that Perl and Python were going to join together. The earliest Acme modules, and then we had the real Parrot, who stole the name from Simon's joke. First version of test builder, first version of movable type, lots and lots of books, too many books.
Including what Dave wrote.
Yep. Oh, I meant to point that out. Damn. 2002, Avril Lavigne, Yum. NMS. 1.15 came out.
That's Richard Clapp.
Richard Clamp. The NMS was the community-driven project to rewrite Mat scripts into something approaching real Perl. That's again the Perl review. That sounded really early to me, but apparently that's when it first came out. The CPAN Plus, www Mechanize. Again, too many books to fill the page. Anything interesting? Yeah. 2003, White Stripes. Perl on new internal engine. Who knows what that's going to And then there's another release of Perl 1.
Why were they doing that?
Because it was there. So Pony was this project to rewrite Perl 5 running on top of Parrot. How'd that work out? And also,
Yes.
2003, Yapsy was held in Paris, and the French Perl mongers started writing ACT, which is the thing that we still use to run Perl conferences. Two really useful and really big projects started going: the Datetime project and the Perl email project. Slightly less books, but still some good stuff.
Another one you wrote.
Oh yeah, that's a really good one. Just bought 3 copies to sell. 2004. First, Catalyst.
No, nothing for taste.
Perl I stuff. I pulled out the Catalyst community. Actually, I think I really mean sort of like the Catalyst DBIX community. It's kind of the I want to point out the work that Matt Trout did to sort of reinvent the way that the communities were working by just encouraging people to get involved by throwing out commit bits to all and sundry. Maypole and Catalyst. again, slightly fewer books. Pearl Medic was an excellent book that nobody bought. Well, except Wendy. Wendy's got every single Pearl book ever published. DBX Class appeared in 2005, along with Perl 587. The first time we got involved in the Google Summer of Code, Planet Perl was launched, and the Perlmongers census, when I went out and counted all the Perlmongers groups. There were lots. Technical DBX Class, and also Pugs. Who remembers Pugs?
Yeah.
Writing Perl 6 in Haskell.
Haskell.
Fewer books again. So 2001, 2002 were really the peak of Perl book publishing. 2006. Moose. Perl 588, which is still around if you're using Red Hat 5.
584 is still around if you're using Solaris.
I couldn't find anything particularly useful that the community did that year, but Moose came out and Plagger, which people use to build some websites. The book publishing thing kind of 2007. Bon Iver. Strawberry Pearl. 5.10. Perl Buzz was launched. The German Perl magazine, Dollar Foo. Yeah, Strawberry Pearl. Good. We like Strawberry Pearl. Some books. That's the really bad Catalyst book.
Well, it's the yellow with black.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I thought that was just me.
2008. Who wasn't listening to Olga in 2008? Marketing. The year that we started taking marketing seriously. So there was the first QA hackathon, which now happens every year. It was the year that he actually was in Copenhagen and Ovid had this marketing booth, and basically everyone turned up and said, we need to market. And that kind of led to the things that started to happen in 2008. The London Perl organisation started then. So out of that QA hackathon came the formal definition of the Test Anything protocol, TAP, which we've been using for years, but we actually had a name. Also the first versions of Distiller and Mojalicious. Only 2 books. I'd never heard of this one before I started to research it, so it obviously didn't sell particularly. 2009, Florence the Machine. PSGI. Awesomeness. Perl 510. So this is the marketing thing starting to pick up. Evan ran the first newbie to send someone to Lisbon, I suppose. The Perl Iron Man started, the blog.perl.org started and stopped and started. I didn't realise that it was 3 years ago that Leo had started to make all the websites look pretty, and Perl.org was the first one. So PSGI and Plaque came out in that year, and fairly soon after Dancer, which was built on top of PSGI. That's the good.
25 years is a long time.
That's the good Catalyst book. I've got 3 years to go. Let's hope the battery lasts. Rakuto Star in 2010. Perl 512, 3 versions. And that's the big thing that happened to the community that year, was that we switched to this annual release cycle for Perl. I say we, like I had something to do with it. Rakuto Star, App CPAN minus, and Meta CPAN was registered in 2010. A few more books. So that's the second edition of the terrible Catalyst book. I don't know whether the second edition is any better.
It's a little better.
Is it a little better? Last year, money. So lots of releases of various versions of Perl. Why I say money was this last thing. It's when the TBF launched their Perl Core maintenance fund, and suddenly all these companies started throwing money at them. It was ridiculous. So all the conferences last year, companies coming up saying, "Here, have $10,000."
No, have 100,000.
Yeah, but the $100,000 was a...
Yeah,
wasn't it? Oh yeah.
That's the Ian Hague thing. That was slightly different. Also, the launch of Perl Weekly, the launch of Perl News, and the new Perl.com, when people said, oh, well, you'll never get hold of Perl.com because O'Reilly use it and they don't want to give it up. and Leo and a couple of other people sent a couple of emails to O'Reilly and Tom Christensen, and they said, yeah, sure, pick it, have a look after it.
I think
So
it's a bit longer than that, but the end result was that.
Yes.
There's something quite subtle about how it happened, but it's great.
Yes.
It is.
Carlton was released, that's excellent. Second edition of Modern Perl, 6th edition of Learning Perl. 2012. Ah, the Olympics. Stuff happened this year too.